I can't believe my eyes.
Hello everyone. The other day I was looking for just something to watch and I came across this movie, The Boogeyman. Ooh. And with such a title I had to check real quick and with such a score I just had to watch it. Just found some casual trash to watch late one night and after watching I just had to talk about it with you guys because, well, my reasons are beyond your understanding. The movie opens with a baby in a crib hearing noises from its closet. The closet creaks open. We cut to a picture of the family next to the crib. Then the baby gets shanked. Then title card. It's okay enough, except for that title. I'm really shaking in my boots right now. Then we see our main character. She's going through a closet and finds a dress and sniffs it. Kinda odd sauce, but okay. She walks out with it in a bit of a hurry, and we understand from the music and camera that it's her mom and she passed away. Then we see the coolest, well, that might be a bit much, but I think it's pretty neat. The neatest thing in this movie. Honestly, I do think it's pretty dope. Anyway, it's MC's sister and she's obviously way too irresponsible to have that. She gets out of bed and we see that she's scared of the closet. She shows off her 6 soccer moves to scare off the monsters inside, and it works. Then we see Daddy. He's a therapist and he's finishing a session with a client. And I want to point out something. It's not a big part, but they say,
I'm just scared that she's stringing me along.
What are you scared of?
That she doesn't love me.
and obviously they're talking about her girlfriend. And I'm not gonna be like,
I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking carry Deus!
like, bro, chill out. Now I think it's a cool thing because it isn't a blink and you miss it thing like in Lightyear or Rise of Skywalker. You lose something if you remove it, but you could argue that she's not talking about someone in a romantic way. But you'd be wrong. Like those stories about women in the 19th century living with each other for decades, but no, they were just good friends. Anyway, Daddy goes,
Class dismissed.
and says he needs to take his kids to school, which makes me go, wait, is this a school that starts really late or a session that started very early? Or maybe they're missing their first classes? Either way, it's a bit odd. We get more confirmation that their mom died with,
It's been a month. It's their first day back. They're a little anxious.
and
None of my shit compares to what you're dealing with.
MC, who we'll now refer to as Sadie, is ready to go, and her dad agrees that wearing your dead mom's dress is a bit odd sauce, but whatever works for you. Sadie seems to be a bit annoyed at his reaction. On the way to school, we get some Chekhov's tooth that will come in later, and then Sis says,
Mom would know what to do.
wow, way to bring the mood down. But Daddy saves the day. Dropping off Sadie, Daddy asks,
You okay?
and she answers with, so obviously not. To which Daddy says,
Have a great day.
what a dad. Even more confirmation that her mom died, and it's pretty well established now.
Sorry about your mom.
We see people looking at her, and I don't know about you, but in my school, which was way smaller than this, like, obviously this is a pretty big school, nobody cared about what was going on outside of their clique. Like, it'd have to be like someone getting arrested right outside of the school for everyone to know or care even a little about it. But I guess this shows how she feels that everyone's staring at her. Fine. Sadie checks her locker, and remember, she hasn't been to school for a month, so there's rotten lunch left there. I feel like something would have happened about the smell, but whatever. Then we get introduced to her friend and her clique. The first friend seems actually kinda okay. Like, she wants to help somehow, but what can she really do other than just, like, be there? But then the rest of the clique show up, and they're straight up bitches.
What did you say?
So they come up after Sadie says thanks for talking with me to her friend, and they start talking about her dress. And Sadie says it was her mom's, and this blonde, who seems to have the most smoothest brain of all of them, says,
Are you sure that's a good idea?
you assume, or at least I did, that she's gonna say something about hauntings or something, but then surprisingly she actually makes a valid point that,
Just wearing her clothes, it seems like it might make it harder to move on.
which, actually, yeah, that makes sense, but dude, not the time. Sadie says she doesn't want to move on, and Lugnut over here says,
Maybe you don't want to creep people out either.
bro, what the hell, you slip and slide smooth brain.
I'm just trying to help.
Understandably, Sadie goes, and Amanda Seyfried here assaults her. Ew, yucky. But honestly, she shoved your shoulders and your lunch bag at your chests? How'd that happen? It's whatever. Blonde's name is Natalie, apparently. She freaking laughs. I thought they all did when I first watched it, but apparently it's just her. The others are like,
Stop.
Sadie starts to cry,
Just leave me alone.
and Sadie goes back home. Yeah, girl, I get it. Sometimes you try for the first time in a long time, and then you just have to retreat. I get it.
We'll get 'em next time.
We cut to Dad seeing another patient outside, and then someone shows up at the door and lets himself inside. Honestly, people should lock their doors. I was gonna say Americans should, but this isn't really just an American thing. The guy from Ant-Man says,
If I don't tell somebody, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
and he gives him a therapy session. Kurt from Ant-Man's name is Lester, and he's hung up on... I can't believe I wrote that. Was that foreshadowing by me? Kurt from Ant-Man's name is Lester, and he's hung up on the closet.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
People think Lester killed his kids, and then we can remember the family picture in the opening scene. He says that he thinks Daddy would understand because he saw what happened to his wife in the paper. It was a car accident, apparently. Daddy handles it pretty well and refocuses the topic.
What are you saying about your children? What happened to your children?
He says that they died from
sudden infant death syndrome. Your baby could just die in the middle of the night for no reason. Isn't that insane? Anyway, sleep well, parents.
Dad says he can't imagine it, and then we're given a red herring with Lester saying,
You have kids, so you can't imagine.
Then he just moves on.
2 kids died within a year of the first, one right after the other. From natural causes to nothing natural about it.
And we're meant to think about a monster. He says he drew it and shows Harper, oh yeah, his last name is Harper, a piece of paper, and we're given an apt description of what it is.
What is this supposed to be? It's the thing that comes for your kids when you're not paying attention.
Harper gives a convincing lie to leave.
I just need to use the restroom.
We're given a red herring with camo work, and the closet door is open. Dad calls the cops. Why did I go from Dad to Harper and then Harper to Dad? Sadie comes home to do her laundry. Aw, it doesn't smell like her anymore. There's some nice camera work with the washing machine, and Lester's being a creep, but Sadie doesn't notice. But she does hear a sound, and when she goes to check it out, she sees blood on the floor. Damn girl almost killed herself. Except it's rainbow blood. And except it's paint and her mom's room is trashed. I get that you're sad and it's ruined, but the destroyed room should be a priority right now, girl. Yeah, like that commotion coming from the closet. She decided to face it head on with a thing, unlike a normal person. Like, why don't you go to your dad? Luckily, there was nothing in the closet, except if you look careful. Oh, there's Dad. Everything's okay. No. Oh. We get a cut to Sawyer's mouth. Gross. Later on, her dad's giving a statement to the police, and they're saying it's suicide because he must feel too guilty for killing his kids. Because monsters aren't real, obviously. This guy did it. But then Sadie asks if they're sure because she heard noises, like a fight. And the police make a good point that
an adult man hanging himself in a closet is bound to cause a racket.
Yeah, that makes sense. But wait, what about the trash room? Well, I guess he destroyed it himself. Sure. But wait, even more, why did the monster hang this guy? Something like this doesn't happen again. This isn't like some sadistic supernatural serial killer. This is just a monster. Dad says goodnight to the girls, and Sadie tries to talk to her dad. This man, who handled a random stranger well enough, then flat out dismisses her daughter and tells her to talk to her therapist about it. Then, the monster finally creeps into Sawyer's room. No, it actually barges into it. Understandable. That would scare you. Now what? The rug gets shifted. Okay, so it's invisible. Sawyer checks under her bed, and there's some nice camera work. Ooh, it's like that one time a Marvel director moved the camera. You see what's almost like a glint of an eye or something? Sawyer pushes her. Then we see the boogeyman for the first time. It's an image and a loud noise, so it's a jump scare. I wonder if we'll get anything else out of this movie. Sawyer falls and dies. No though, just listen to that sound. Damn, that's gotta hurt. Sadie is now bargaining with the afterlife. She's about to try it when her sister comes up and does what little kids do best, which is act really creepy. She's scared, obviously. Sadie sees her tooth is bleeding. Gross. And then they decide to take it out. They do the string and door trick that you know, and she's gonna count to 3, but just when she's gonna, her sister's scared and then she stops. But then...
1, 2...
What?
We don't have to do that.
Yeah, honest reaction. I get that Sawyer's a child and scared right now, and you're probably in shock too, but come on. That wasn't a gust of wind. Sadie and Sawyer have a sleepover. Something pulls the tooth that they forgot on the floor, I guess. And it gets pulled from the other end of the string. Ooh, spooky. Why though? I guess it's cause the boogeyman preys on kids? But also this man here. So, I don't know. There are some scary sound effects with it, but it's no bear from Annihilation. I mean, there's no meaning to any of it, so... Next scene, they're at therapy, and Sadie talks about dead people, and then Sawyer talks about monsters. Then they do exposure therapy for Sawyer, and turns out she's afraid of the dark, and that's why she has... So that's a nice bit of information to piece together. The boogeyman nearly kills her during it, and then they end the session. We overhear the therapist tell Daddy that he can't avoid talking about it, and he promptly avoids it. What an alpha. But then he admits in the car and says sorry. What a beta. But then no, he doesn't commit, and instead he apologizes for letting that man in. This leads to Sadie look up the guy. She leaves her room, and then we hear her talking to Sawyer. But then when Sawyer gets out of the cuffers, she's not there. Okay then, it is like the bear from Annihilation. If you say so, King. Oh. Wait, this actually is by King. What the... I mean, I guess the boogeyman isn't a defined character in pop culture.
I mean, in these movies, you can just do whatever. There are no rules.
But then why isn't the boogeyman killing Sawyer? Whatever. Sadie's snooping in her dad's room. She listens to the recording and does some artistic stuff. Like mother, like daughter. And sketches out the boogeyman. And then gets jump scared and throws the recorder into the water. A bit arbitrary, but okay. Meanwhile, the girl who's scared of the dark is determined to investigate the dark, and then... Wait, no, don't sacrifice Moonlight. Yeah, what the hell. Sadie works on drawing it and then does a noob move immediately and turns it on. Wow, what an amateur. Come back later when you take your phone with you in your pocket while you go rafting and it swims in water for half an hour. You put that stuff in rice. Anyway, thankfully the recorder is waterproof since it still works. Obviously for all those waterside therapy sessions that you do. The light breaks and for some reason it's drippy. There's some cool visuals with the creature. It's scary enough. And Sadie's pretty creative. Fast thinker. Better than... But little did she know that the real threat was right behind her. And Sawyer brutally beats her sister because she thinks she messed with her. Actually though, I know Sadie isn't taking it seriously, but she knocks her down. She notices Sadie's nice artwork and then Sadie tells her that she's gonna figure out if it's real or not. At school, she heads to her friend. She wants to talk to her in private, and then everyone else walks away. I don't know, man. Maybe it was to have the shot. Her friend wants to make it up to her, and then she says drive me to the place of the guy who killed his kids and then himself. Sadie does some recreational trespassing. She leaves her number on the fridge and keeps exploring. The boogeyman leaves behind... rots? And decay? Alright.
You can just do whatever.
She follows that blighted way up the stairs and... Hey, I just played this game. There are a bunch of traps set up. It shines bright lights and takes pictures and gets a photograph taken of her without her consent. And then we find out that she used that camera without the owner's consent. Freaky. Sadie tells her that her husband came to see her dad. So then this lady decides not to kill her. Sadie thinks this was an invite and she goes closer to the lady and gives her her art. Sadie says her sister saw it and then the lady says,
What have you done?
And that it attaches to people and jumps to people nearby. Sadie says, is that what happened to your kids? And we get this line.
They called it the Boogeyman.
I'm sorry, this cannot sound good, man. She gives some exposition and says it likes to play with its food and it mimics and talks like people.
Do whatever.
She says it needs the dark. Hey, that sounds like. And then we get this kind of cool exchange.
Fire was the first thing man used to see at night. It's really been around that long. I think it's been around forever.
But again, let's not forget, it's called the the Boogeyman. Keen viewers may notice movement right around here on the screen. And you don't have to be a genius to predict it. We get an "it's behind me, isn't it?" / "don't move" cliche. And the lady gives her tinnitus.
I see you, you son of a bitch!
Sadie runs out and her friend is out of the car after hearing gunshots. She comes up to her friend and stands there instead of running away, even when Sadie hand waves the situation away as if it wasn't a gunshot that came from the house she was just in, and she runs to the car. Her friend doesn't. At home, Sadie says to her sister that monsters aren't real and she needs to grow up. I'm not sure why she says that. Is it to protect her? Is it her own denial because of the trauma of what just happened? I don't know. What I do know is she dies.
You're a disgrace! Suck my dick and choke on it!
But it was a dream. Wait, what? So I think she came back home, shut her door to her sister, fell asleep, and then had a nightmare? This is just poorly shown though. She hears a sound and goes to check it out. It turns out her dad is getting rid of her mom's stuff because he doesn't think it's good for them. Sadie's like, what the fuck? No, don't do that. How could you? You don't care about mom. And then he's like, you don't know what I think. And Sadie says, then tell me. And it's like an impactful moment. And then he says, keep what you want, and he leaves. God, what an alpha. Sadie says, what if I want to keep everything? And he's like, sure. I love him. He says the stuff's in the basement and we see the light isn't working. So despite the fact that she got told not to be in the dark by a crackhead with a shotgun, and the fact that I know you guys have phones, she goes into the dark basement. Beautiful. She decides to keep everything and then she comes across a camera. She gets overwhelmed after seeing and hearing her mom, so she decides to use her lighter to try and talk with her. And she asks to move the flame to the left. And her mom is like, I can do you one better. And then makes a creepy voice. And then some things creak and move in the back too. And there's this guy. And Sadie has some ovaries on her too, because she just goes in without hesitation. Then she sees... and she keeps going. She turns the light and... then she goes away. Yeah, I guess. At school, she's watching videos of her mom, and her friend comes over and says she's seen her pee 1,000 times. She also says, what's up with you, and you're my best friend. Tell me. Revenge of the Sith dialogue over here. Sadie says she used to be, and that she has friends that are, quote, so much cooler. And, citation needed. And then her friend says they're your friends too, and, citation needed. Sadie doesn't question this ridiculous statement her friend made, and instead just says, when's the last time we hung out? So then her friend's like, okay, let's hang out. And Sadie agrees. Before her friends come over, we get a scene with some characterization for her dad.
I look okay.
You look beautiful. You look like you're about to forget all your worries and your strife.
Yeah, Sadie. I feel the same. Because we're over halfway done with the movie, and now we see her dad is quirky and silly, I guess? Sure. She opens the door and... I was confused when I first saw this. Like, why the hell are they here? But rewatching the movie to write this script here, I caught this.
We can all come over.
Seriously? I'd stop being friends with her if she still brought them over after what happened before. I'm not even kidding. They hang out and it's a blast. The bitch is being a bitch as expected.
My dad's not much of a drinker, so... don't you know that?
Sadie gets peer pressured to look cool and she says she has weed. They start blazing it.
Need water or something?
Sorry.
Damn, is this movie for asthmatics? Like, this is so relatable, like for real, for real. Turns out it's not just normal coughing, but something is stuck in her... What? Wait, what the fuck? Oh my god, what? Bruh, that ain't normal, bro. But ridiculousness aside, that is gross and disturbing, I guess. Sadie should think about that. Bitch is being bitch as expected and messes with her camera. Just touches stuff without asking for any permission. Then she wants to see the closet where the guy hung himself. Dude, isn't this the girl who said wearing your late mom's dress is bad juju? What the hell? Then she asks where he did it and Sadie goes inside. There's a sound prompt that catches Sadie's attention and some characteristic boogeyman rot on the walls and ceiling. Not that you could see anything because it's so dark. Why don't you turn on any of the lights? Turns out the bitch is being a bitch as expected and asked so that she'd go in more and then do this. What the actual fuck? I swear to god, if that happened to me, you wouldn't be able to recognize the person who did it after I got out. Now she's 1v1ing the monster, but she's a Magikarp and he's like, an Exodia? Okay, actually this would be pretty scary. She gets out and then bitch says...
No, she's just being dramatic.
And then now Sadie can dish out some real punishment. Really? Okay, well it's better than nothing. I believe she should have got more of that, but her friends go to her side because violence is violence, isn't it? Yeah, but she literally pushed her. She assaulted her first. She is in the wrong. Oh well, spine transplants aren't possible yet. Wait, are they? Her friend tells her that the door was stuck. Door stuck! Sure, just some more boogeyman interference and manipulation, I guess. Speaking of, what was this? Yes, the inside of a mouth can be gross, but this is just sort of out of nowhere. Sadie calls her a liar, which is understandable, and she pushes her, which is understandable. And she looks upset about this, which is understandable. But she still sides with her clique friends, so it's understandable. Then Natalie, apparently that's Smooth Brain's name, calls her a freak and says Bethany, which is her friend's name, is the only one who actually likes her and, like, yeah? I never thought any of you cared for her. Who are you kidding? Who are you kidding? They leave and then we see Sawyer playing the Pathless. Why is she in the dark though? She's literally the one with the biggest fear of the dark. She literally had moonlight. Rip moonlight, by the way. Because she was so scared of the dark. Why isn't the room's lights on? Are you aggressively saving on electricity? Even though your daughter has a crippling fear of the dark? Well, I guess it's not crippling anymore. Anyway, the Boogeyman has a... God, it's not a scary name. The Boogeyman has a 1v1 with Sawyer. But Sawyer's like a... rabbit? And the Boogeyman's like a... like Ellie. I don't know where I'm going with this. Sawyer uses Rabbit uses intimidation on Ellie by no-scoping without even looking. Ellie retaliates by now directly ripping off Annihilation. It is kind of scary. Anyway, Ellie shoots the rabbit. Huh? Where did she... Some Scooby-Doo bullcrap. I think the shot of her dad and sister coming down the stairs from the cracked TV is cool. But I think the slow-mo and the bass of the music, this part, it's kind of lame. Sawyer wakes up at the hospital. She says the Boogeyman attacked her and Sadie says she believes her. She goes to look for her dad when her phone rings. It's the crackhead. She tells her to come over because she learned how to kill the Boogeyman. Sadie inexplicably catches a glimpse of her dad through the door's small window. Dude's really stoic. He's there because his wife was there. He says he should have been better because now Sawyer's seeing things. Sadie says it's real, she saw it. Then her dad asks if she was high because she smelled like weed. Yeah, understandable. She then says never mind, you never listen, and leaves to deal with the problem herself. She tells Crack Lady that she came because her sister got attacked, and the Crack Lady says it must be getting hungry. Sure.
You think you can kill it? One way to find out.
So Crack Lady didn't figure out any way to kill it. She just came up with the plan to use this child as bait, and then shoot it to death with the traps she set up. It's a very smooth brain, but I mean, I guess it is a no-brainer. I like how it slowly puts out the candles as it moves forward. It also helps with the budget, I guess. It stops right at the wire, and then you wonder if the monster is too smart for this. But then it leaps and it dies. I like how light glows through its body as if it's hollow or thin.
Told you it could be killed.
So the monster jumps onto her and she pulls the trigger and shoots right into the beam that Sadie was tied to, letting her free. Alright, movie. Crack Lady is pleading for Sadie to help her as if she could do anything, and like, bro, if she could, she shouldn't. Sadie instead spends her time with getting herself out of her zip ties for some reason. And not only does she not have to because all she should be doing is running away, but she's also able to break free of them. Okay. She falls down the stairs and points a spotlight at it. Great. Like I said, just be in the light. You don't even have to move. Sadie's walking back home after nearly dying for the second time in one night. I get it, man. When she gets a phone call from her dad just got back home and she tells them not to go in, and for the first time the dad says,
I'm listening.
But it's too late to start listening and they die. R.I.P. Then Sadie starts running home. Sadie gets back home and she tries to turn on the light, but too bad though because they're not working. I guess your phone won't work either. No, don't try. So we saw how the Boogeyman pulled them into the house, right? Like they're dead. There's no question about Sawyer's alive. And she pepper sprays Sadie. We get the cliche thing of telling someone something only they would know to know if it's the real them or not. Sadie then, after seeing this thing brush off gunshots like it was nothing, says if it bleeds we can... God damn it. This is an actual book by this man too. She decides to take it on with a hockey stick and she heads to the basement. Wow, girl. But I should be saying wow to something else because she actually uses her phone's flashlight for once. This is absolutely phenomenal character development right here. I'm impressed. But her sister comes cosplaying as a disco ball and gives up on the phone. God damn it. Sadie's Christmas lights get stuck on a box and knock it over. Chekhov's lighter fluid. Sadie sees the Boogeyman doing its best BVS Batman impression and it attacks them. Sawyer dies. Oh no, she's just asleep. I get it. The Boogeyman jumps on Sadie, and then... Oh, that's kind of cool actually. What we saw is like a messed up jaw or like mandibles are actually fingers, and it breaks its own mouth or something to reach out and suck your soul? Was it sucking the baby's soul in the beginning? Sadie's awesome hockey stick idea totally worked, so now it's broken in half and she tries to reach for it. Meanwhile, the boogeyman is now doing its best Dementor impression. Also, Red Skull? I like how the music slows down like her dying. Despite all the things this movie is copying, it isn't copying vampires, but Dad doesn't understand that, so he stakes the monster. What if cutting off the link killed Sadie like it does in mecha anime or something? Well, I guess it's not copying Dad, I guess. Anyway, her dad dies. Sawyer is awoken from the commotion and runs to her dad, and her lights finally come unplugged. Dad uses her mom's lighter. I like how the shot is framed, like it's their last bastion for hope in this dire situation. They try to get him out of here, but his leg dies. And then so does the lighter. Sadie tries to turn the lighter on and the shots flash back and forth, and it finally lights up, and this time brighter than ever, and you think of her mom. Then we get confirmation with it leaning to her left. Ahaha, Chekhov. They use the fire with the spray and also get out of the way just as the monster is about to pounce on them. Dad kicks the monster, pretty hard I might add, I think. And then Sadie burns it again. It reminds me of the end fight in Civil War. Teamwork. I love teamwork. So the boogeyman is copying the greatest horror movies of all time, The Thing, by finishing its monster off with fire. Cool. But then this time the spray can dies. But then Sawyer dumps some lighter fluid on the monster. Teamwork. I love teamwork. And then Sadie throws the lighter on the boogeyman. And it dies. Oh wait, actually, we get this shot of Sadie staring at the boogeyman as it slowly burns to ash. And I'm not exactly sure what it means, but we see the rot and decay it spread get burned too. Sadie turns back just as she's about to go up the stairs, and she sees her mom's dress, and I'm rewatching this movie, and it hit me harder on the head that one of the themes of this movie is about grief and moving on. They make it out of the house and it's all burning down. The next scene is of, this time, all of them at therapy. At first you think he's talking about what they went through, but then you realize he's talking about the passing of his wife, and now he's finally dealing with it instead of denying it. Hey! As they're leaving, the therapist calls Sadie back in, and just from the scene a moment ago, I thought the dad grew, finally accepting his wife's passing. But obviously hasn't grown that much because he continues to ignore his child. Alpha. I guess Sawyer ignored her absence too. You notice a slight limp on him too, so that's a nice attention to detail. She can't find her therapist, and then the closet door creaks, and we hear a sound cue, and we're like, oh shit. Sadie goes towards the closet because she's curious? Influenced by the boogeyman? Stupid? The therapist shows up from the other side and says, "Can I help you?" And at this point, Sadie is left with a choice. Open the door or close that chapter of her life and move on. And that was the boogeyman. After rewatching it, I saw the bigger point of grief, acceptance, and denial that was lying beneath the shitty, horror schlocky surface. But you know what I think held back this movie the most, I'd say? The title and its titular character, the boogeyman. Nothing about that is scary. It's the same thing with the bye-bye man. It ain't scary. It's literally a wishy-washy name for something that scares kids. While making this video, I went back and forth on calling it the boogeyman and the monster, and I think you'd agree with me that it was a lot more intimidating when I called it the monster instead of the boogeyman. Like I said at the beginning, I watched this movie because I saw it while looking for some trash to watch. But I can't imagine anyone at the theater seeing this poster or seeing a trailer for this, and then seeing the name The Boogeyman, and seriously want to watch it because it's a good movie. Imagine how not surprised I was when I looked up this movie in the middle of watching it and saw it's a Stephen King movie. I guess a lot of his stories are based on kids and what they're scared of. Ooh, isn't it impressive how he can make childish things scary? Like clowns, or a monster, or periods. I have watched 9 Stephen King movies now. Hey, it's me while editing. I just realized when I was explicitly listing all of the movies of his that I watched to see if I like them or not, for the express purpose of having it in front of me and not forgetting, I forgot another movie of his, which is Gerald's Game. and I don't like most of them. How is it that this man has his name on this, and also has the highest rated movie on IMDb? What sorcery is this? I refuse to change my mind on him being overrated, and I'll just chalk up Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile to other factors. If you've watched this the whole way through and are still interested in the movie, more power to you. Feel free to watch it. But I can't recommend this movie. Instead, I'll be recommending some other movies to you. Mainly Annihilation. I can't stop tooting that movie's horn enough, to be honest. I really like it. And Talk to Me. Good horror movies really aren't a dime a dozen, and so it's surprising that this movie kinda came out of nowhere and it's pretty well made. Those are the movies that are a bit similar. Talk to Me more than Annihilation. But other than that, just some really good movies I'd recommend are also The Thing. It's a horror classic. And if you want to watch some actually good Stephen King movies, I guess, go watch Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile. That's about it. This is very different, and it took a lot of time to make, so if you liked it and want to see more of it, be sure to tell me in the comments section, or with a like, and I'll make more of them, because I definitely want to make more stuff like this. Subscribe if you want to catch that stuff, and that's it. Goodbye, everyone.